Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Today I'm going to be doing a rose theme or floral theme soap. I just wanted to try out some of the color blocks that I made last week and incorporate that into this video tutorial. I'll put a link in the description or at the end of the video to the color blocks if you want to know how to do that. But this week I'm just going to be making rose inspired soap, and I thought it would be a good idea also because of Valentine's Day coming up, and I thought it would be, a cute romantic gift idea. So the first thing I did was I melted down some white shea butter base, and that's what I'm using for this whole tutorial. I'm also using honeysuckle and jasmine fragrance oil from Candle Science. This is a very floral, fruity sort of floral fragrance. I don't really like rose fragrances that much. They remind me of old ladies, so sorry if you like that, but it's just not my favorite. Honeysuckle is my favorite floral fragrance, but I thought the jasmine would be a nice touch too. And I'm just going to give these away as gifts for Valentine's Day for some of my friends and family. I wanted the detail of the roses to really pop out, so I decided to do a little bit of this base melted down and just use the white portion and sort of fill in some of the detail with the white. I ended up using a pipette. You don't have to use a pipette, but you can also just use the spout and kind of pour it in around the mold itself. But I just thought this would be a little bit easier to control where the actual white portions were going. So once that was set up, I let the white starting to harden a little bit in the mold and just let it sit for a while. These are the color blocks that I made in last week's video tutorial. I'm going to use the pink color block to help color the soap. And these were really easy to make if you want to check that out or watch how to do it. I do have to wipe them down though because I put them all in the same bag and got some other pigment colored on it. So I just started off with a tiny piece. You could see I cut off of the corner and melted it into about, I think this was about 2 to 3 ounces of that shea butter base. And then I just kind of mixed it in and let the heat from the hot melt and pour just mix in the soap block. If you've never used the soap blocks before, I know like Brambleberry has some video tutorials on how to do it, and some of the other soap vendors make color blocks, and they're just an easy way to color melt and pour soap. These will only work for melt and pour too. They won't be stable in cold process soap or anything like that, so you don't want to use them in that. So it just kind of like let it melt down. I had to do a lot of stirring. I think I stirred for about a minute to get this fully incorporated. And as I continued through this, I kept running out of the shea butter base that I was using that I was coloring pink, so I had to keep melting down more soap base and then adding a little bit more of the color block, which is fine. But I kind of experimented with like how much soap base I was using versus how much of the color block to use. And obviously the more of the color block you use, the darker pigment it got. So I also wanted to see what would look best for this design, if it looked best to have like a light pink shade with the white, or if the dark pink would look better with the white. Personally, when I got to the end, and you'll see at the end of the video, I kind of like the darker pink and the way the white popped against it. There was one that I did that kind of melted both like a darker shade of pink and a light shade of pink. I thought that came out pretty well, pretty nice as well. But you guys can just watch along. I'm just kind of basically melting down the soap base and stirring that in and incorporating it into the mold as quickly as I can. And like I said, the white part, I just let it sit. It's pretty much in real time. I'm not like waiting a significant amount of time to add the colors to anything. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the tutorial, where I used a little bit more of the pigment block, and once it was mixed in, you can see the shade of pink is turning a lot darker. And like I said, it's just using less melt and pour base and more of the color block itself. I thought these might be setting up quickly, so I tried to score, but obviously it didn't need to be scored because it was still pretty wet, which is a good thing because, again, it just makes the design look a little bit better at the end result. So I'm not pouring these at ridiculously hot temps, but they are like pretty warm and the skin was starting to form. So I just poured on the outside of the rim, if you could see how I did that on the actual cavity, because I didn't want it to disturb any of the white that was already setting up with the light color pink. I kind of just wanted to see how that would turn out. So this was a fun experiment with the different cavities, or filling the different cavities, you know, with the soap bases differently. I had a lot of fun with it. Also, if you're looking for this soap mold, I don't know if they'll have it around the store, but I found it in Joann's on the clearance section with their Valentine's Day stuff. So, you know, this might just be something that they do just once in a while. You might be able to find it online somewhere. If I happen to find it, I will put a link in the description. I went ahead and let those sit for about 4 to 6 hours before I decided to pop them out of the mold. You can see the little bit of creases on the back side of these soaps. It's because I had to move the soap mold. So just don't do that when you're making soap. Wait for it to start to dry. So that first one was the lightest pink that I tried out, and same with this one, is a little bit darker. So you can see the difference in the colors and the way the white pops. And I'll show some pictures at the very end here of the finalized result. But I personally like the ones that look like this, where the pink was much darker and the white was a little bit darker. So you can see that the contrast from the white to the dark pink looked great. And that, I think, was one of the ones that was the mixed colors along with this one, which also came out pretty awesome. So I would highly recommend this mold, or any mold like it that has cavities, and just kind of fill those in one at a time. So I went ahead and weighed these, and they were weighing about 2 ounces, or 2.2 ounces each. So if you're looking to make this, or you get that mold and you want to know exactly how much is in there, it was between 2.10 and 2.2. And these are just some close-up shots of the soap. And if you liked this video, want to see more like it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, because I try to post every week a melt and pour soap tutorial.